What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to the After Action Report for the Asgardians versus Avengers. Actually, with the way they performed, I think that was definitely the Avengers.
Yeah,
that was definitely the
knockoff
Avengers.
ones.
So that was the game was 16-10 for the Asgards. I tried to put in as much fight as I can. I'm just going to say right off the bat, I think two things that really let me down there was Steve rarely making any successful defense rolls.
Yes.
And then Daredevil never is successfully punching anyone.
He is blind.
That was just so disappointing.
Yeah.
Agent Venom, when he did some stuff, he did okay. Rhodey did okay. That's the problem. All my characters at best did okay. I didn't have anyone who stood out and did amazing.
And it makes me kind of sad because I don't think your team looks like, on paper, your team seems like a really solid group of guys.
It seems okay.
Yeah, well, everyone does something. No one is a slouch. No one just goes down to anything particularly easily. I was looking for who's the one who's really weak on your team to mystic attacks, and nobody. The answer is nobody. You guys all have threes. It's solid. Agent Venom's weak against energy, but there's a couple of people who are strong against energy, so it's fine. But yeah, your guys took hits and then took naps.
It also didn't help that Loki shut me down hard in a couple cases. There was a couple times I wanted to get some stuff off, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
Because of the power, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And then of course he just threw Steve around. He didn't even get much chance to bodyguard at all.
Yeah, I will agree. Thor this game spent a lot of time lifting and throwing.
He was your control piece this game, and he did control. Hella friggin' got work done this game.
Yeah. No,
my goodness.
I used her as the tip of the spear, and I didn't realize that she is actually the axe that swings in afterwards.
She was the spear, she was the blade, she was the haft coming in afterwards, and I'm pretty sure she was the hand of the person holding it.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing went right through there. You friggin' gutted me, man.
It's funny because I've played Hela before, and
you've had moderate success with her in the past.
Not really, and she's never really gotten the tokens up to the point where she needed to, or she had enough control against her that she just didn't get to play.
There was a really early game we played, way back. I think I was playing Defenders, and Hela had just come out. And I think she was your friggin' MVP that game.
Well, she smoked someone real good. And
she smoked a lot of people real good.
Well,
I had Ghost Rider left with a Hail Mary, and
Yeah. But I definitely feel like she performed almost at peak performance today. So
she did very well. She did very well this game.
Loki, despite the fact that I consider him to be sort of a middling guy, I think he performed exceedingly well. I actually really liked Get Help. What
was the other part of Get Help that
I staggered
That's
Steve,
right.
He took 2 damage. It's we both spend 1 power, and I move Loki to a spot that is not ideal for him. Wait, all of a sudden it is ideal for him. And so, yeah.
Your plan came together nicely. My plan kind of failed to come together. I needed Daredevil to get some power. So badly, Daredevil needed that power.
Hilariously, Enchantress, I consider her to be mostly a failure, but she did get off a sap 1 turn, which was the key power that you would have been able to...
No, it wasn't the key power.
Oh, was it?
No, it wasn't. Okay. It wasn't the key power. I was at 2 power. You brought me down to 1.
Well,
what happened.
I felt like that was important because getting to 3 is your big thing,
no,
right?
5.
Oh, I wasn't worried about 5. I was worried about your.
You keep thinking Devil's Deliverance is a lot more.
No. I knew the Devil's Deliverance.
You're thinking about my punchback?
Yeah.
My punchback is 2, and I have to be within range 2.
Yes. Well, no, I was more worried about Thor and Loki dealing with Daredevil than I was Enchantress. So.
Oh, I thought I was doing so well when I dazed Thor and when I dazed Loki, and just.
I honestly did think we had twisted the other side on that, and I'm like, well, Hela's got to do a lot of work, and then she did a lot of work.
I thought this fight over here was going to go way differently. I thought War Machine and Black Widow and all that stuff, they were going to do a lot more over there, and I mean, Rhodey just getting dummied the way he did.
100%.
Right? I think that's the key takeaway here. My guys just got friggin' dummied. No matter what I was trying to do, for whatever reason, they just could not stand up. And Loki constantly shutting down all my... Admittedly, I didn't have a lot of superpowers, but there's stuff I could have done. Like, I had this wonderful play that I was going to do. I was going to wander over here, throw Loki over Agent Venom, and then do a beam into Venom or into Loki and Thor,
Yep.
which would have like just been friggin' awesome and cool, and it would have really showcased what he could have done. How much damage would I have done here? Yeah, that roll looks about right. But I also would have exploded in there as well. I would have gotten a lashing kicking around, and that would have dealt extra damage there. And yeah, there's
I would like to say that I do not feel that Agent Venom had his best showing today.
No.
He needed a little bit more going on to.
He wasn't terrible.
No,
he wasn't terrible, but he just I mean, I like the incendiary grenade. Guaranteed incinerate is nice.
And I think against Asgardians, it's not as powerful just because almost every turn we just spend one power and
It
get rid
still
of it. Right?
siphons off.
Oh yeah,
it siphons off a power, which isn't to be understated, but
I think in teams like this, having incinerates on people sticking really gets you to the next side, right?
Yeah, and that's like just in general. I feel like maybe I was lacking a little bit of a support piece. I don't know. But there was something in my team that wasn't present.
Yeah, it wasn't quite gelling for you.
Now, granted, we also got like 2 objectives that were very tight, right? Like
Yes.
there wasn't a lot of wiggle room there.
We were pretty much, this is the part of the board we're going to play with for the rest of the game, and it was...
And that really let the Asgardians kind of dominate that particular fight.
I think that's a greater question for the new objectives. There's a lot of battles that are going to happen in a much narrower field of battle, and I think there might be some characters that in the past, when they're paired off against someone not so great, they win the fight, but if they have to fight 2 people, they're no good. All of a sudden, there's a lot more support and overlapping fields of fire in this situation.
Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like the game would have been a little bit different if I was running, like, say, a Web Warriors with their rerolls, or Shield with Eye in the Sky and the gun line. I don't know. Like, this was an interesting one. I will fully admit, my team was not optimized in any sense of the word. I mean, I was running OG Daredevil.
Yeah.
For crying out loud, right? Like, it's...
Well, and hilariously, I think that Hela normally isn't that great. I think that Loki's not that great, and Enchantress is just okay.
Hela's an undertuned 4 threat, from what I gleaned from a lot of discussions and everything like that. Enchantress, she's okay, but she's lost, like, with her steel becoming in action, she's kind of lost some of her limelight a bit.
Yeah.
But I would say that there was no point in this game where I did not think you were firmly in control as to what was going on, right?
Yeah, like, I did feel like when you flipped Thor, I was in the start of trouble, and you had good beads on Hela and on Loki. I'm like, oh, this is where it could turn.
I couldn't convert though, man. Like, none of my stuff really converted. Like, and that was kind of the rough thing.
And I think aside from maybe Hela, I don't think any of our attacks were particularly amazing, but little chips of damage really hurt your guys a lot more than it hurt mine.
Yeah, Hela was the only one that I would say really got that super impressive attack off. Everyone else was just kind of like, well, we'll do some here and there.
And I'm going to say, having 3 claimed soul tokens, doing a 9 dice mystic attack, getting 2 tokens back afterwards, it feels like you're doing a lot of profit there. So.
Yeah, that just hurt. If you can set up the pain machine on Hela, she gets a lot done. And you barely used any of your cards.
I did, but they were always in reserve. They were always in the perfect kind of position. Odin's Blessing, I think, is far more powerful being in your batch of cards.
Yeah, it's a deterrent.
Rainbow Bridge was always going to be there to teleport me into the danger zone, but...
This particular scenario, I don't think you needed it, really. If things got away from you, sure, but...
Maybe, but because you can't have an objective when you use it, I'm thinking that it might stay home in more of my Asgard lists unless we have like really wide.
That's right, because there is a lot more objectives kicking around these days, right?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, interesting.
Well, in between the objectives being more and more centralized, I'm really finding that that's probably not going to be as helpful as it's in the past.
Probably more an ability to get you into the fight as opposed to.
Yeah. You need to be thinking of it as the catapult to get you into fights as opposed to the one that gets you to where you need to be.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. So I don't know. It's interesting. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this game. Like, on one hand, I do feel I kind of got diced a little bit.
Sure.
But
okay. Well, we had some discussions before last night when we were talking about Agent Venom. And did you feel like you had enough power most of the time?
If it wasn't for Loki, yes. I I had this great. I had a plan that would normally only take 9 power, which I had. I'm like, this is an amazing plan. I love this plan.
President Loki raised taxes recently, though, so unfortunately, you can't afford to live that way anymore. You gotta learn to live within your means.
So frustrated. I had this awesome play in mind, and you're like, nope, not gonna happen, buddy. That was so frustrating. No, I like Agent Venom, to be honest. Like, if you just want to take a minute to talk about Agent Venom, like I've seen a lot of people kind of going back and forth on Agent Venom, with some people not happy that he's not really a brawler type thing. I view him firmly as a skirmisher. I think he's going to be able to support your brawlers really nicely.
I think so too. I think he's going to want to have be part of a team that likes to have tricks going on. Him being able to fire at range 4 really gives him a pretty solid advantage for a lot of things. I know you really like the grenade. I love the idea of the grenade, but I don't want to get within range 3 with him most of the time. I think that's...
I honestly don't mind getting within range 3 of him, because I feel like he's not enough of a threat offensively that he's going to be a target all the time.
I really like his beam, and if that comes up a lot more, I'm excited about it.
If I'm using the grenade, I mean, that's one power that the beam isn't using, right?
Yeah.
No, I like him. I think he's a solid all-rounder character, and I think there's some interesting play with him. I like him. I think he's going to be very dependent on the team that he's in. Like, don't try to solo anything with him. I think that's just going to end poorly for you.
As you said, he's a good skirmisher. He might be on the side. He might be in the middle with another friend, but I think he can do some good work that way.
I like that he's a size 3 character in terrain throw. That I never really got. I got to use it once.
A little bit, yeah. Oh, so you were talking before.
Oh man, I just realized something. I was out of range 4 of Loki. Not that it really mattered over here, but...
Oh, I thought you were still in range 4 because of the way that the move was.
It really doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it really doesn't matter.
Yep.
No, I like him. Like, I played him earlier in a game with using shield, and he actually fit in really well with Bucky and Hoff.
Yeah, so I know everyone's surprised that you played a game with shield, but... So how does he interact with Hoff in that? Like, do you feel like he's too much? Does he...
He adds to the gun line.
Perfect.
He adds to the gun line, which is the big thing.
I guess the question is, in that game, did you end up using his grenade a lot, or did you find you were
all the time,
back?
man?
Yeah?
All the time. I think I used a grenade out of the 4 rounds we played. I used it 3 rounds.
Okay.
And his grenade was instrumental in taking down Gamora, which was big.
Did you end up using his beam attack?
No. Didn't use his beam attack once, actually. Never really had a good opportunity to.
That's fair. Well, and I feel like my concern with him is he has a lot of ways to spend power.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely he does.
I feel like he'll be hungry, but I think I might be chalking that up to thinking you have to use every single power every single turn.
Play him on hammers.
Oh.
Arrange for 5 dice, adding dice for hammers.
Yeah.
Play him on hammers. Or even the Incinerate becomes a 6 dice for 1 power with Incinerate, which isn't too shabby.
That makes that feel a lot better.
Yeah, he's gonna everyone loves hammers.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, Agent Venom I think is really gonna love hammers.
Well, and he can avoid some of the big heavy hitters when they have like 2 hammers. Well, come on, spend one of your actions to come get a guy at range 4, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think I like Agent Venom. I think there's a lot of interesting play for him. I do kind of wish Clintar Firepower was either a rapid fire or it was a gainer. Yeah. I think a lot of people kind of feel that way.
That's fair.
But at the same time, I mean, if he did have more consistent power generation, like if he was able to get his web swing on every turn, no problem, or get all-store quarterback on just a lot easier, he would be probably edging on the busted side of things.
Well, I think that he's going to be interesting, and I'm hoping he's more than just the gun line thing that you've been looking at for Shield, but I think we're going to explore him over the next little while.
Oh, for sure. I like him so far. He's definitely making it into more. I'm super excited about that model. The official model, I'm just like this is just third-party 3D print, as you can tell. I am super excited about the official model. I think it's probably one of the coolest models they've put together so far. And I mean, this is coming from a guy who thought Nick Fury was a cool model. So I discerning tastes, right?
Of course.
And I think that's pretty much it.
I think so.
Yeah, so for all of you who stuck around, thank you so much. Hopefully you guys enjoyed both the chat and the battle report and everything like that. If you missed it in the original battle report, there is a Patreon now that supports this channel. If you want to go check it out, that would mean the world to us. Everything goes back into the channel to support it, to get better equipment, hopefully make better content, all that sort of stuff, and even just keep up with the new releases as they hit. Because we keep trying to make sure that we're playing new stuff as it hits, and Yeah, it's just something we want to be able to keep up with, especially with Shatterpoint coming down the road, right?
We want to keep bringing beautiful models into people's TV screens or
Yeah.
monitors.
And once somebody else is painting them, they will be beautiful. I shouldn't be so difficult on my paint jobs. But anyway, thank you so much, guys, for watching. We will see you next time. Happy wargaming.